podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, April 10th, 2022. This is episode 1884. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Acronis. Keep your digital world safe from all threats with the only cyber protection solution that delivers a unique integration of data protection and cybersecurity in one. Acronis Cyber Protect Home Office. You may remember it as Acronis True Image. Go to go.acronis.com/techguy. And by Blue Land. Stop wasting water and throwing out more plastic. Get Blue Land's revolutionary refill cleaning system instead. Right now, you can get 20% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. It's, yes, time to talk tech. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still call, but you would call using Skype or something like that. Skype out. Should be free, because we're free. 8888 Ask Leo. And coincidentally, so are 6 lines, free. 888-827-5536. Website. Toll-free. Website is also toll-free. There is no requirement to pay, no subscription fee. It's techguylabs.com, and everything lives there. Links that I mention, audio and video after the fact, even a transcript, so you can go there, search for what you're looking for, and find it. I hope, I assume fairly quickly. techguylabs.com. Here's an interesting use of Twitch. You know about twitch.tv? It's where people go to stream themselves playing games or sitting in hot tubs or whatever, just stuff, mostly gaming. It's owned by Amazon. AmTrak set up a Twitch channel the other day with an empty railroad line on it. It's in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Empty railroad track in front of a parking lot, birds chirping. Otherwise, nothing happens. The reason Amtrak, they're in a little fight, a little slap fight with the freight lines that use that line. Amtrak wants to run 2 round-trip passenger trains a day between the cities of New Orleans and Mobile. Do you say Mobile? Mobile, Alabama. New Orleans and Mobile. But 2 freight companies, CSX and Norfolk Southern, use it, and they say you can't put passenger trains on that because it's going to hurt the freight trains. Amtrak says, well, there's hardly any freight trains on there, and so they put up the Twitch stream so you could watch it. To which the CSX, the freight company, says, well, look, of course not. There's only 8 to 10 trains a day. There are all the 1 to 3 coal and grain trains and numerous local trains. And it's a complicated story because freight trains are long and there's just a single track line, so they'd have to get out of the way, and it's hard to get something that big out of the way. You'd have to build side. Anyway, I just thought I'm not going to weigh in on the battle, although it's nice to have passenger train service, and I guess if you live in Mobile or New Orleans, you'd like that, but the freight trains are there too. But I think it was interesting that they're using Twitch to lobby. Look at this. Beautiful empty track. Nothing happening. Yeah, okay. You got your point there. Amazon, I didn't know this. So the National Retail Federation did a survey, found that a lot of merchandise gets returned every year. How much would you guess merchandise gets returned? Let's put it this way. It's more than the U.S. spends on national defense in a year. $761 billion of merchandise was returned. People bought it and sent it back or took it back. What? What's going on? You guys don't like nothing? Amazon won't say exactly, but the National Retail Federation estimates that 16.6% of all the merchandise sold on The holiday season was returned. That's up, by the way. A lot of returns, more than 56% from the year before. I think probably, I'm guessing, I'm just going to guess, wild guess here. A lot of people who used to shop in the store and would try stuff on and say this doesn't fit had to turn to shopping online during the pandemic. And so as a result, they're sending stuff back because it doesn't fit. My wife does that, the try-on. She orders a bunch of stuff. She gets it, tries it all on. If it doesn't fit or she doesn't like it, she sends it back. That's how you get a giant jump, 56% jump in the number of things returned. For online purchases, the average about 21%. Right, of course, yeah, up from 18% in 2020. So, given Amazon's net sales of $469 billion, multiply that by 21%, you're going to get almost $100 billion in returns every year. U.S. returns generate 16 million metric tons of carbon emissions because they've got to be shipped back. 5.8 billion pounds of landfill waste because they're often not sold again. Billions upon billions of dollars of waste. The byproduct of consumerism run amok, says Mark Cohen, Director of Retail Studies at Columbia Business School, former CEO of Sears Canada. I like that. Consumerism run amok. It's kind of the story of this show, isn't it? Amazon sends no items, they say, to landfills, they told CNBC, but relies on energy recovery as a last resort, which means you burn it. What are you doing? What are you doing there? I'm doing energy recovery. You're burning your garbage. No, it's energy recovery. Okay. Remember seeing last year the videos of pallets of returned goods. And I have seen people, apparently you can buy a returned pallet and they'll ship it to you sight unseen. You don't get to choose. It's like the ultimate surprise gift. Wow, I don't know what I'm going to get, but it's going to be a deal. Returns are important, aren't they? Aren't they, right? If you're buying online now, I think so. Wow, I didn't realize though it was $761 billion worth of returns every year. Apple announced an event this week. They're going to have their annual Worldwide Developers Conference. It'll be online again this year in a couple of months. It'll be in June. I think, what is it, June 6th through 10th? Something like that. And that's a big event for developers. They go, or in this case, watch. They don't go anywhere. They sit at home and watch as Apple explains their new versions of iOS and macOS and gets developers ready and tells them about new stuff they want them to do. And so the rumor mill is, they're talking. What are we gonna see? Because every time Apple does an event, they often take advantage of this to announce new products. And the Mark Gurman, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the rumor king for Apple says, expect a new MacBook Air. Now, rumors are not my stock in trade because it's just a rumor. Apple never says ahead of time. But the only reason I mention these sometimes is if you're in the market, for instance, for a MacBook Air and you can wait until June 6th, maybe you should. Because maybe, not guaranteed, maybe there'll be something new. And, of course, the big story of the week, before we get to phones, I'll give you the big story of the week. Elon Musk buys 9% of Twitter, largest shareholder now of Twitter, might as well be an owner. We don't know yet, but I'm sure there'll be leaks from Elon speaking to the Twitter employees. They actually had an all hands because he has such a town hall, because he has such a huge amount of Twitter stock. Furthermore, he's kind of a Twitter prankster. He's tweeting all sorts of stuff about, what Twitter should do and whether we should shut it down, and his free speech reel on Twitter, and should there be an edit button. And Twitter's kind of, whatever you say, boss. So the town hall is a way of, I guess, reassuring the staff. I don't know. I don't think it'll be that reassuring. I don't know what Elon will say. We'll see. Elon's been, if you follow him on Twitter, he posts all sorts of cray stuff. He's cray. He's the strangest dude ever. And all sorts of weird stuff about what he should do with Twitter. And honestly, I just think he's having fun. I don't think who knows? Does he really want to run Twitter? Doesn't he have a space operation at a car company to run? Isn't he? So then he said, like yesterday, he tweeted, should we delete the W in Twitter? Elon, what are you, a 9? What are you? Convert the Twitter San Francisco headquarters to a homeless shelter since no one shows up anyway? What are you? Elon? I should look at these polls. By the way, yes is winning on delete the W in Twitter, which is not going to happen. Convert Twitter headquarters to homeless shelter. What do you figure? Of course, yes will win. Yeah, 91%. He's got all sorts of ideas. All sorts of ideas. Exactly the worst thing you can imagine for your boss. And now a number of tech blogs are saying, with 2% of Twitter, he probably is going to be the next CEO. He's got a board seat. He could say, look, I'm either going to do a hostile takeover of Twitter. I got the money. He's the richest man in the world. Or you could let me run it without that. And I think that's I think that might happen. Does anybody care? I don't know. You know who cares? The media in this country, because they live on Twitter. It's like for them, Twitter's everything. It's the whole thing. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Give me a ring. Let's talk high tech. You, me, everybody. We're all in this together, so let's do it next. You want to see I don't know if you can see the replacement setup. Let's see. So here's the curved 31-inch Samsung. You can't see the iMac. It's under there. It's over there in the back there in the corner. The Mac Mini. It's over there. It's kind of an iMac replacement though, and it's exactly. So we found the proper cable, which is a Thunderbolt 3 to DisplayPort. Full-size DisplayPort. Was it the mini DisplayPort, or was it that it was a Thunderbolt 2 connector, not a video connector? I think that was the issue. Yeah. So if you're going to do that, as always, you want to get exactly the right cable for the job. So I got a couple of them from Cables to Go. I have one at home. It also works with the studio. And it's nice because I get 120 hertz there. I can't get 120 hertz here because it would confuse the scan converter we're running. So I'm stuck. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it's 1.4. The one at home is 1.4 for sure because I'm getting 120 hertz. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe I just need to, but I'm figuring because the scan converter is mirroring, I can't go crazy here. Then we'll know. System. Doesn't look like it has a setting for that. Can you hear me? Whoa. Can you?
A little too loud. I had those headphones cranked.
You can hear me. So you're awake.
I am awake.
You're
now.
awake. Welcome.
Welcome, one and all.
That is Kim Schaffer, the phone angel. She's in charge of the phones. She runs the phone. She is the phone master.
I turn them on and off.
Well, that's important.
And then I pick them up.
What is more powerful than the ability to turn something on and off?
Especially for a talk show.
Or anything. If you could turn me on or off, you'd have absolute power. Flip the switch and I go. Fortunately, I'm not a robot. Who should I talk to? You're still thinking about that, aren't you?
No, John was making funny.
She wants the button. She wants the button that says "Turn off Leo."
Oh! John was trying to tell me he has the button.
He can turn me on or off.
He's got
Actually,
the button.
he does. I mean, I'd still be here talking, but you wouldn't know it. I'd be talking to myself.
Well, let's go to Paul in Westchester because I
Okay.
think he's got an issue that you just dealt with over the last couple weeks.
Well, Paul must know something I don't know because issues that I have dealt with are long, long list. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Hello, Paul. Welcome.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
I am well. How are things in Westchester?
Finally cooled down. We got
Nice.
out of 90 degrees at the beach, so it's really nice to be back in the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. We had that little mini heat wave. That was weird. So what's going on with you?
So I have a old Mac Mini, and like millions of others, I think I want to upgrade it to the M1. 'Cause I think it's worth doing.
Yeah.
So I'm going that way, but what I've been reading, and I'm totally confused, or I was confused about the displays that will work with.
As you should be.
I understand Apple changed a lot of things.
As you should be. Apple changed a lot of things and didn't really explain it very well. So the new Mac Mini, the current Mac Mini, which is based on the M1 chip, has capabilities beyond that of the M1-based MacBook Air and MacBook 13-inch MacBook Pro. So otherwise, they're very similar, but there is a slight difference in the Mac Mini. It can drive two monitors. It has an HDMI port on it. But as I have learned, not only with the Mac Minis, but the new Mac Studios and even the MacBook Pros, that's an HDMI 2.0 port. So it is not the port to use if you want to drive a high resolution, high frame rate display. For that, you'll want to use the display port. Now, there is no display port on it, but there is a Thunderbolt port on it, Thunderbolt 4 port on it. And you can get the right cable, you can drive a display port. So if you want two monitors, and many do, one will be HDMI and one will be DisplayPort. There is no third monitor.
Okay. I understand that. I do have an ultra, like millions during COVID, I bought an ultra sharp 24-inch.
Beautiful.
That's 1920 by 1200 resolution. As I understand it, I think as long as I'm going to run native resolution, I'm okay. All the people that are complaining out there on the internet are the ones that are not running native, because then you've got to get into the scaling problem. And as I understand it, Apple is saying, we're only going to provide, and it might make sense, you're only going to provide scaling if we're in a Retina situation, meaning 4K, because then we have enough pixels that we can. And I think what Apple does is they make a virtual screen in memory. They do double the resolution, and then they allow you to use your scale bar and reduce it down.
So I'm running this LG monitor, the Samsung monitor that I have at 1080p because I'm sitting 2 feet away from it, so I just need it to be bigger. It will go up to 2550 by 1440, and as you will see in the display control panel, scaled only gives you a subset of all the possibilities, because Apple, in their infinite wisdom, says, well, you don't want to scale it in kind of a resolution that is non-native.
Non-integer,
Non-integer. Like you want a half or quarter, but not a third, because but in my experience, that's actually not the case. And in fact, there are Mac apps that will let you scale kind of at anything that the monitor can do. So if you really get to the point where, you could try it. But honestly, I switched. So the program I'm mentioning is called Switch Res X.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. And you can try it and see what you like. Apple does all sorts of funky things. This Retina thing is just a marketing term for dots per inch. And the 5K, they do 5K for their monitors because they can, and that sounds like it's better than 4K. But I don't know if that's really the case. Dots per inch is a factor of the screen resolution and the screen size.
Right.
So if you have a 100-inch screen, even if it's at 4K, those dots are going to be visible, right? But if you have a 27-inch display at 5K, you can't see the dots. That's what they mean by Retina, by the way, is at a normal viewing distance, you can't see the dots. It's not a very scientific term. So
right. So if I buy a 24-inch 4K display,
you'll be fine.
It'll be too tiny on real estate. but then I can do the scaling of 2 times, and it'll be just like a 980 by 1020.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like what I got and be super sharp then.
That's what I often do. So I go back and forth. So I have a 55-inch 4K display at home, and I go back and forth between native 4K display and by the way, not an integer division resolution, but a slightly smaller division resolution, which looks fine, by the way. And I go back and forth because my eyes. But, there's ways to accommodate it. The menus are small, but you can make text bigger. I think it's one of those things you want to play with. And don't hesitate to, and don't let Apple tell you what you can do. That's the bottom line. Leo Laporte, the tech
really
guy.
help us with is spam and the SDC. Who do we write to? I'd love everyone to write in because I'm getting so much spam on my iPhone. It's not funny.
Isn't that terrible? You write to your phone company and just hope that they will wise up. We talked about this last week. June things should start to ease up as this new stir and shaking is extended to more smaller carriers, and then ultimately so the only ones who don't have to do it as of the end of June are the ones who have a facility, like they're a real phone company, but they're in Barbados or somewhere. So they're not a big phone company, but at least they have an operations center. But right now, you could be a virtual phone company and not do this authentication, which means they're the ones sending all the spam. But my sense is, we'll see if the FCC backs down. But my sense is, if this does happen on schedule as it's supposed to, that's really going to cut things down by the end of the month, next month.
Oh, perfect.
In June. Yeah. If you can just hang out for a few more months. So
I got Mint Mobile, one of your sponsors.
Oh, good. Yeah. So they're T-Mobile and VNO. I don't know what their I think they probably have the same policies as far as tech spam as T-Mobile because they're going through T-Mobile. So anything T-Mobile uses stir and shake, and they have to. So I think you'll get the benefit of it end of June.
Thank you.
Yeah. And as far as monitors, I've had 5K. I've done 5K. I think 4K is fine, especially at 24 inches, even 27 inches.
First thing I'll try to do, Leo, is try my Dell Ultra Sharp, which is a 1920 by 1200. If that works sharp,
I think you'll be fine. Yeah. And honestly, I've used Screen Res X. I don't know if it works on M1. I have to look and see. I'm sure it works, but I don't know if it's it probably doesn't run in the background, I would guess. So you probably just use it, even if it's Intel, if it's using Rosetta. But so that gives you complete control. You have every possible resolution that the screen can handle.
Yeah, I'm happy with the native. So on that, I'm just hoping it's just as sharp with the M1. Just because
it is.
So many people are saying there's display problems, but they're not clear on what they are. So.
Well, I think it's just as clear. I mean, the display problem, Apple did some weird stuff, I think. And I'm not really happy with some of the things they did. But I think in that case, you'll be all right. Yeah. I'm running it on my 4K with a studio, Mac Studio, and it looks great. Even at native resolution or even at a third of the resolution, it looks great. Yeah,
I would think you could run it native because, you being a QHD.
That's fine. I'm an arm's length away, and I just, for programs that I like my browser, I just have the text be bigger than normal. That's all, so I can read it.
Hey, I'm your age.
Yep. All right, got to run.
All right, thank you, Leo.
Pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for calling, Paul. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Hey, Sammy.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
You're somewhere.
I am at Walled Lake Central High School today, where I have been spending the weekend judging the first robotics regional competition.
You're doing it first.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. This is my fourth time doing this.
So you sound fine. You look fine. As long as the bandwidth holds up, we'll be good.
Okay. I'm standing in a spot that's got good, strong Wi-Fi signal at the moment.
Oh, good.
And,
okay.
Got my Pixel Buds in my ears.
Good. Is that what the audio's going through?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not great, but it's not horrible. You sound like, you're on the phone. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
I don't have to tell you guys about Acronis. I know you know the name Acronis. This episode of The Tech Guy brought to you by Acronis and their Cyber Protect Home Office, which brings you everything you need in one tool. Formerly, you may remember it as Acronis True Image. This was the imaging tool for years we all used. we all used. It was the best. Still is. It's gotten better, though. That's what's amazing about it. It's now a full package. Look, hard drives fail, coffee spills, cyber threats attack. Your digital world is under constant assault from all kinds of threats. Save yourself, protect yourself with a cyber solution that delivers a unique integration of data protection and cybersecurity in one package. That's from Acronis, their Cyber Protect Home Office. Windows, Mac, Android, iOS. What do you get? Quick backup and recovery with that famous Acronis true image quality. They've been so good at this. You never lose precious files or expensive applications when you need to. And it's fast to restore. We used it all the time on TV because you can get it back quickly. You can restore the full system like that. But here's the good news. You can also restore individual files. So it's kind of the perfect backup. Backup what you want, where you want, when you want. Locally to the Acronis cloud, doesn't matter. You can restore your entire system to the same hardware. Hard drive fails, put in a new hard drive, or to a new system. What a great way of setting up a new system. You can create direct cloud-to-cloud backups of your Microsoft 365 account, including your Outlook.com mailbox, your OneDrive, and it's cloud-to-cloud. Doesn't even go through your system. Built-in cybersecurity, too, stops any cyber attack from damaging your data, applications, or system. You can block attacks in real time before malware, ransomware, or cryptojackers can cause damage. We've said it for years, the best protection against ransomware is a good backup, but this ties a great backup with protection. So, now you're really protected. Find any hidden infections that may be lurking on your system with flexible antivirus scans. And by the way, management is absolutely simple. Reduce the cost, complexity, and risk of using multiple incompatible solutions to do each one of these. Simplify protection by managing everything through a single intuitive interface. Spend less time on the computer with Acronis' famous two-click setup and a set-and-forget options. Rest assured, your entire digital world is now protected with their integrated protection. It's Acronis, A-C-R-O-N-I-S, Cyber Protect Home Office, formerly Acronis True Image. Well, partly, but now it's even more. It's even better. More than just a backup. More than just an antivirus. Peace of mind, knowing your devices and backups are protected. That's what you want. Your data is safe, accessible, private, authentic, and secure. Safe, yes. Accessible, anywhere. The Acronis Cloud's always with you. Private, completely encrypted. Authentic, you know it's yours. Encryption provides authentication. Secure, no one can touch it. Keep your digital world safe from all threats with the only cyber protection solution that delivers a unique integration of data protection and cybersecurity in one. Visit Acronis right now at go.acronis.com/techguy. Acronis Cyber Protect Home Office. You may remember it as Acronis True Image. Go.acronis.com/techguy. Please use that address so they know you saw it here. And that way I get credit for it and you will get the best. Acronis, the name we all know and love. Go.acronis.com/techguy. Thank you, Acronis, for supporting the Tech Guy Show. It's time for Sam Abuelsamid. He is our car guy, principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. He's a podcaster. He does the Wheel Bearings podcast at wheelbearings.media and, of course, wherever finer podcasts are distributed. Joins us every week to talk about automotive technology. But I have to ask you, where are you, Sam?
Right now, I am at Walled Lake High School, which is northwest of Detroit. This weekend, I have been acting as a judge for a FIRST robotics competition.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of FIRST. That is so cool. Good for you.
It's a fantastic program, and we talk every week about automotive technology and all the stuff that that goes into transportation, but somebody's got to create that stuff. Which means we need engineers and designers and accountants and everybody else that's in part of the business. And FIRST Robotics was created back in the mid-1990s by Dean Kamen, who you may have heard of.
He invented the Segway.
Yeah. But before he did the Segway, he did FIRST Robotics, among lots of other stuff that he's done. And so it's a fantastic program. And I think it's really, really critically important because so much of what we depend on today in the world is based on technology, and getting people to move into the technology space. The studies have been found that if you don't capture kids, in the very early grades, like by third or fourth grade, a lot of kids who would potentially be really good at this stuff often get sidetracked off onto something else. And so you need a pipeline, to get kids interested in this and get them developing and learning the skills that they need, all the way from the lower elementary grades all the way up through high school and onto college. And FIRST Robotics, there's multiple competition levels within this. It starts with, down at the pre-K level with the first Lego League, then, where they start to learn some of the really basic stuff about, how to design and put stuff together and build really basic robots with Legos, and then moving on to the first technology competition. And then the first robotics competition, which is at the high school level. And, here at this regional competition today, we've had 41 teams from schools all over Michigan competing to try and capture a spot in the state competition next weekend. And hopefully from there go on to the World Finals in Houston at the end of the month.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
What do you do as a judge?
So there's a bunch of awards that we have to give out. So there's two phases to the competition. There's the actual on-field competition. The teams build robots that they have to have, or they can have some autonomous component to them, some autonomous operation component to them. They can be shooters, picking up balls that look like giant tennis balls, about basketball-sized tennis balls, and shooting them into hoppers. And then a climbing competition. And each year they redesign the game, so they have a different design for the play field, and the students have to optimize their robot for some or all of these components of the competition, and so they compete head to head in 3-team alliances, competing in the game, which lasts about 2.5 minutes for each match. And then the judges, we go around and we interview the students from all the teams, and we give out a bunch of different awards, such as things like engineering inspiration, gracious professionalism. Some of this, are team awards that are focused on, building the kind of good attitude that you need to be successful in engineering. And then there's also the machine awards for things like innovation and control, quality, engineering excellence, and autonomous control. And so we go and judge all those, and we gather back together and we argue for several hours about which team should win which awards. And then we write up scripts for them, and we have the awards ceremony at the end after the competition's all done.
Oh, how fun. And these are kids who, so many of them will go on to STEM careers. So it really gets them excited.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids I've talked to in the last 2 days, have told me how, they weren't necessarily interested in getting into engineering or science or, any kind of STEM related career until they got involved with FIRST. And that, really got them interested and realized, what kind of neat things they could do, problem solving techniques. And, the teams all have adult mentors. Sometimes it's alumni of the programs from the school that come back, college, students that went off to college and come back to help out their school, or teachers or parents, or just other people who want to volunteer to help these kids out. And it's a great program.
Nice. Do you know of any, I guess, how long has FIRST been around?
It started in the mid-1990s. I think it's 95 or 96.
So there should be some people working in the auto industry today.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people. In fact, probably about a third of the judging team here today. We had about 15 judges. About a third of them actually came up. They're working as engineers today, and they came up through FIRST. They competed in FIRST as students. Went off to school, became engineers, and have now come back and are volunteering in various ways, including judging.
Oh, that's so cool. So great.
Yeah.
So this high school you're at, is it in your neck of the woods? Is it in Ypsilanti or?
Yeah, it's about 40 minutes from my home.
Yeah.
So it's northwest of Detroit.
And your kids are out of high school, but did they do first when they were in high school?
Unfortunately, my kids were not interested in going down this path. They decided they decided to take a different path in life.
Yeah.
But I strongly encourage, even if you don't necessarily want to get into engineering, you don't feel like you're good at math or science, it's a great way to learn problem solving skills, to learn leadership skills. And even for those that aren't necessarily on the science and technology side of it, they need others to participate as well, to do things like finding sponsors, working up business plans, doing the budgeting, organizing. So there's a lot of opportunities in FIRST that are beyond just, building this stuff. Many
high schools all over the country have FIRST teams. FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. So it's a little bit. Yeah, it's actually a global program.
Yeah,
all over the world.
There's teams from all over the world that come to the finals.
So neat.
In Houston.
And even if your team doesn't go to the finals, it's just a great opportunity for high school kids to learn about all of this stuff. It's extracurricular usually, right? It's not part of the regular curriculum. It is in most cases, but in some schools they do have robotics classes. Oh, that's neat.
Where FIRST is actually part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
So depending on what school you're going to, it's definitely something worth checking out.
I think my kids' school, they did do that. And like your kids, my kids had no interest, but I certainly encouraged them on doing it because it's very cool. And you don't, to be a judge, do you have to be a roboticist? I guess not.
No, you don't. Anybody that wants to volunteer and be a part of this and, help support the kids and learn more about it can participate. You go to, I think it's firstinspires.org is the website, and you can sign up to be a volunteer. We're nearing the end of this year's program, which ends at the end of April with the World Finals. But definitely go and sign up. You can be a mentor, a volunteer, working with a school, even if your kids aren't going to school there. Or if you want to volunteer at these events, there's a lot of people involved here with actually putting on the event, building the play field and
so
all the equipment. So it's a great program.
I remember my friend Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, was a FIRST judge in Santa Clara. He was a big fan of FIRST, a big supporter of FIRST. In 2020, there were 3,898 teams, 97,000 students, 29,000 mentors, 34 countries. So it is truly a global competition. Have fun, Sam.
Yeah.
It's great to talk to you.
Thank you, Leo.
And
great to talk to you too.
Are you like rooting for one team? I guess you can't. You're a judge.
No, I can't really root for one team, but I'm rooting for all of them to succeed.
Go teams. Thank you, Sam. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We won't make you continue on. I'm probably tired of holding that phone. So anyway, thank you for doing that. That's really good. I'm glad we could do a plug for FIRST because it's a great.
Yeah, program. My pleasure.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, this is my fourth year judging. And, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. So are you just getting started, or are you beginning, or?
No, we're actually we're winding down. They're doing the elimination rounds right now. We've made all our decisions about who's getting which awards, and they're doing the elimination competition right now, and then we'll do the awards ceremony after that.
Nice.
About an hour and a half or so.
Have fun.
All right. Thanks Leo.
Sam.
I'll talk to you next week.
Take care. Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, talk to me, the tech guy. I'm here for you. Talk to me. Rob in Tarzana, California. Hello, Rob.
Hey, Leo. My wife doesn't receive the majority of her voicemails until a few days after messages were left for her. Yeah.
That's no good.
No. She's had this problem with several different iPhones and two different carriers, Verizon and T-Mobile. And since this problem has occurred, with a couple of different carriers, several different flagship iPhones, I wonder if the problem isn't her SIM card or her phone number. And want to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, normally I would blame the carrier. But remember the iPhone does this visual voicemail thing. Is she using that?
Are you using that, honey?
The visual voicemail so that...
Nodding her head, no.
No. So there's two ways to get voicemail on an iPhone. One is to press and hold the number 1 and actually dial the phone company for your voicemails. My guess is her voicemails would be, if she did that, would be on time. But the other way to do it is to go into the phone app and look at the voicemail, the so-called visual voicemail. They call it visual because you can see the voicemails, you can select them, you can delete them, and so forth. And that, I think, takes some processing from Apple. So the trick is for her to check the voicemail through the carrier first. See if it's there. It should be. Should be there the minute somebody leaves it.
Is it there, honey? No, she's nodding her head no.
Press and hold, long hold the number 1 on your phone to dial it. And you're actually it's a pain. Nobody wants to do it, but you're dialing the carrier. Okay. And the carrier has copies of it. What happens then is that then goes to, I think, I'm not sure, but I think it then goes to Apple for processing in addition to the visual voicemail. Now, if there's other things that she could possibly be an issue. So she's saying if she goes in the phone app and long presses, goes to the dialer and long presses 1, which calls her voicemail, she's saying in that case, she still has a delay on her voicemail.
This is Gabby, Rob.
Hi, Gabby.
Wife.
Yeah, hey, Gabby.
Hi.
So give that a try. So I would show you, but it's radio.
It seems to be a miscommunication because my problem is that I don't see or hear that any messages were left.
You don't get notifications either. Yeah.
I have and it's turned on my phone.
Yeah.
So I've gone to all the settings. I've done everything.
So is it just a notification issue, or when you go to voicemails, even if you haven't notified, you still don't see that voicemail?
I do not see it, and I do not hear it.
Yeah, you will only get a notification from visual voicemail when it arrives in your inbox.
I don't. But you see, I don't get that. The visual does not appear. The message does not appear. And then maybe 5 days later, I get 12 messages that all came in last week. You're laughing, but my clients...
No, that's no good. I agree. Right. So we're going to solve this, though. We can solve it. So the first thing to do is launch the call button, the green button with the phone on it. Launch that. Go to the dialer and press and hold 1. That calls your phone company's voicemail service.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And if all the voicemails are there, even before they get to visual voicemail, we can diagnose that as a separate problem. If they're not in there even, then there's something there's something wrong with the phone company. I suspect that's not the case because you've tried it with 2 different phone companies. So the press and hold long 1 will give you your current voicemails directly from the phone company.
Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no voicemails there.
So have your husband call and leave a voicemail, and then see if you get it immediately that way.
Well, you see, the problem is it's intermittent.
I understand. I understand. But bear with me on this because I'm trying to diagnose this where the issue lies. If you do not get voicemails when you press and hold the 1, and you go to the company's voicemail line, one just dials that number, is a number for your voicemail, dials that number. If they're not there, then the only recourse is to call the company. My suspicion, I'd be shocked if they're not there. My suspicion is it's a failure getting from there to your visual voicemail, which most iPhone users use. And there are a couple of places to look if you're having trouble with visual voicemail. One is your carrier settings. So make sure that your carrier settings are accurate. And sometimes, especially if you change SIMs, it doesn't update. So you go to settings in general, where you go to about, you just check to see if the carrier settings are up to date. And you want to make sure they're up to date. You can even reset your network settings by going to settings, general, reset, and there's an entry for resetting network settings that will kind of rehash it. Sometimes that is the problem. The other thing is some carriers, Verizon, yes, T-Mobile maybe, have their own visual voicemail. So the next thing to try is downloading the visual voicemail app from your carrier, the one that you're using today. So that may work better. what I'm trying to diagnose and what I'm trying to say is somebody calls and leaves you a message. The carrier now has it on their system. And it should show up immediately if you call the carrier system. That's why you get the dial number and you press. Nobody wants to do this, but this is the old school way of getting voicemail. You remember you would dial a number, press 4 to delete, press 6 to save. Remember all that dumb stuff? Apple, when it first came out with the iPhone in 2007, that was one of the big selling points. They made a deal with AT&T. And by the way, it required cooperation between Apple and AT&T. So visual voicemail wasn't even available when the iPhone spread to other carriers initially. That's why the carriers have their own third-party visual voicemail apps, even to this day. So that's an interface between Apple and the service. So you want to press that one, go to the voicemail, do the old school, just like we used to before visual voicemail. See if your messages are there. If they're not, nothing that can be done to the phone will fix this. That's an issue with your carrier. You got to call the carrier and say, why aren't my voicemails coming through? That's something wrong with their network. I'd be very surprised if that's the case. Much more likely there's a hitch in the giddy-up between that, the carrier's system, and the Apple system. And the ways to get around that, granted, make sure you update your carrier's settings. You've got to have the right data settings. The APN settings have to be correct. Sometimes they're not. And the carrier, I'm not sure how this works. My guess is the carrier sends a push notification to Apple and then sends the data to Apple. Apple processes it, sends a push to your app, its internal visual voicemail app, which is then supposed to notify you. If you don't, if you have visual voicemail and you never got the notification, then go check the phone settings and make sure you've got notifications turned on. That's another thing. So there's a whole bunch of things along the line. I'd be shocked if it's the carrier, but if it is, then you have to go to the carrier. If it's going to the carrier but not getting to your Apple, then there are solutions around it. You might try the carrier's third-party visual voicemail solution. That might solve it for you. It's kind of complicated, and that's because we have this new way of doing it. And by the way, Google phones now do it too. Everybody does visual voicemail because it's such an improvement. Who wants to call? Do you remember those days? In the dim, dark days of voicemail where you'd actually dial the phone company's number? I can still do it. I can still do it on my phone. I just have to go to phone, and you can still do it on your phone. Usually, now, it may not be set up, press and dial 1, but if not, then you'll look up the phone number. But usually, on most phones, press and hold 1. You see it's calling my voicemail.
10 new voice messages and 1 saved message.
Remember those days? And then you press 4, delete. That should work. That should work. If that doesn't work, then you got to call the phone company. All right. 8888 Ask Leo. I'll tell you what, we have a number of articles that the chat rooms come up with and all this stuff. I'll put those in the show notes, techguylabs.com. How to reset your carrier network settings. Those could be wrong. Your voicemail, if it's not working, call the phone company, that kind of thing. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, email, voicemail. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still reach us, but you'll have to call using Skype or something like that. 888-827-5536. Website, techguylabs.com. For Gabby, we'll put up a article Scooter X has found for me from MacReports.com. Voicemails delayed, how to fix. It's the same stuff, pretty much, that I was talking about. I don't know if it's a current problem. Like there's a thing going on. I don't think so. I think it's, it's one of those technologies, when they are interacting, it becomes complicated, And everybody, of course, when you have multiple, people involved, everybody blames the other person. If you call your phone company, they'll say, oh, no, that's Apple's problem. You call Apple, say, oh, no, that's the phone company's problem. George on the line from Columbus, Ohio. Hello, George.
Hello, Leo. Thanks for my call.
Thanks for your call is exactly what I would say. Welcome. What can I do for you?
Yes, my cable ISP allows me to receive a monthly discount if I use my own modem, which I recently installed, a Netgear CM1000 version 2.
That's what I use. 3.1. Very, very good cable modem. Yep.
Okay. And I thought I did my research correctly on that.
Yeah, DOCSIS 3.1, they may not offer it yet, but at some point they will, and you'll be ready.
Oh, yes. I get a consistent from, the speed test app and other online speed tests. I get a consistent 500 to 550 upload.
Yeah.
Download, and I get 50 to 55 upload.
I'm using a Netgear CM1000 with Comcast. I have gigabit service from Xfinity, and I get 980 megabits. It works really well. It's perfect.
And, okay, the problem lies after I installed this Netgear modem. I was getting the same exact speeds, basically, with the supplied ISP modem. And as this one I'm using, but my upload speeds are just, it's like watching paint dry compared to what I was getting with the company supply.
Oh, interesting. So the Netgear doesn't do as well upload. What are you getting upload?
Well, like I said, now if I use the speed test app, it shows the same. It's what I've noticed is when I upload, like, say, a video file to my OneDrive or to pCloud, or like if I upload manually photos to my, Google account, those are just so much slower than they were with the company supplied modem.
It's interesting. So why would speed tests be faster than these other uploads? The biggest difference between it is speed test is sending a relatively small number of packets.
Yes.
And you're sending a much larger number of packets over a longer period of time. A lot of times what cable companies do is they call it burst, which is it's very fast at first, so it looks like it's going fast and it tests well on speed tests, and then it slows down. But there could be other issues as well.
Yeah, and I'll just give you a few tips. I have very poor vision as I'm legally blind, but through the wonders of Windows and high contrast color schemes and enlargement, I'm able to do things like this on my own. And I don't want to mess up settings within the router unless I know specifically what to look for and to do. And since I lived the first 45 plus years of life on dial-up until
You're not dying here. This is a lot faster than that, no matter what.
Until I moved about 3.5 years ago, and now I have the wonders of high-speed, cable modem.
So the chances, it's interesting. You're using the same router with the cable company provided, no?
The modem. No, I always have used my own. It's a Linksys AX6000.
Yeah. So even if what you're swapping in and out is simply the Netgear CM1000 or CM1000 versus the cable company's cable modem. This is the only thing that's changing. The router's the same.
And the cable company supplied modem was I think it was a scientific technology.
But that's what I'm asking about is not that. Yeah. But so the router's the same, because honestly, I wouldn't blame the cable modem as much as I might blame the router. Now, sometimes the cable company's cable modem comes with the router together.
It was a combo modem router, but I did not use the router. I had turned off the radio on the router to begin with. I've always used my own Wi-Fi router, which I said is a link.
Well, okay, turning off the radio is not enough to turn off the router, though. You also have to put it in bridge mode, so it's not doing...
Yeah.
And you did do that. Network address. Okay, translation.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's just like I said, the router part was out of the equation.
That's what I'm getting at is, when we're doing troubleshooting for stuff like this, we want to kind of eliminate as many variables as possible. The router's the first thing that I would always suspect if you're getting poor upload speeds. You would want to make sure your router is not doing something in the middle. Is it always the same computer you're uploading from?
Yes.
Okay. So then that's the next thing to look at. In other words, I'm not suspecting I'm honestly not suspecting the cable modem because they're dumb devices. They're not doing much at all.
Yeah, and I just did not, like I said, I've got experience, but I don't have experience in the cable modem.
Right. I mean, it is possible. I guess, you could have it could even be a bad cable modem.
Yeah. And I was just simply wanting to touch bases and see if you or somebody in the chat room,
What is the speed you're getting, just out of curiosity?
Well, I'm supposed to be getting 500 megabit, which...
No, but what is the upload speed you're getting?
Okay, like I said, the speed test still shows a consistent, 52 to 55 upload. But if I do the old-fashioned stopwatch and say like a 4 gigabyte video file, it comes out to only about 4 to 5 megabit upload.
Yeah, I think that's probably just what the software's doing. It's weird, though, that it would be... This is the weird thing is that you have tried switching out cable modems with everything else identical, right? And so the only difference is the cable modem, and the cable modem provided by the cable company is noticeably faster when you upload those files.
Oh yes, it would only take say like a 3.5, 4 gigabyte video file, maybe 5 minutes top. I could get a cup of coffee and check my email, and it was done. Now it's like a 25 to 30 minute process.
Well, in theory, you've eliminated every possible variable but the cable modem, right? As long as you're doing exactly the same thing, and it's just the cable modem is the difference, then there's something wrong with, I would think, there's something wrong with the Netgear. The Netgear certainly can do a lot more. I can't remember what
that's what I just didn't know if there was any settings for upload specifically.
Not that I know of.
Went in, I logged into it. It shows I'm connected on 32 channels. It shows no errors or gives anything unusual as far as I can see.
Yeah.
And even on the cable company's test page to test your modem shows everything.
But it's tricky because it's not showing up on speed tests. It's only showing up on longer term uploads. And I don't know of anything that the cable modem could be doing unless it's just not working properly. And that's going to be my guess. It's going to be hard to justify, though, because this doesn't show up in the speed test. So certainly signal quality to the cable modem from the outside is important. And, maybe the Scientific American is just a little bit better, at that. Or maybe the connection, I would look at maybe the way you're connecting it to the cable modem. Make sure that coax, maybe even try some different coax. That's all I can think of. 88, but if somebody else can, maybe they can call or chat with me and tell us. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you have a better idea, keep listening, George. I'm sorry I couldn't be more help. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, photo guy, Chris Marquardt, coming up. It could even be the cable company. You're right. Old Gear says it's probably that cable company getting back at you for using your own modem. Could be. Could be. Hello, Chris Marquardt.
Hello, Leo Laporte.
Do you want me to get an email from you or anything like that?
No, I didn't send you anything. Oh. I'm driving this whole thing.
All right. Driving. Cool.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
It's easier that way.
We'll talk in 10.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. There is a reset button on the back panel that you can do a factory reset. Make sure, I'd also call the cable company, make sure that they have the MAC address for the CM1000 They must, because it wouldn't work if they didn't. But just make sure that they've got everything set properly. You know, cable companies do. One of the reasons there is such a thing as DOCSIS is so that the cable companies can manage your connection. So it's completely possible for the cable company to say, "No, I don't want you to have so much upload." So that's worth kind of calling. The problem is you got to get a friendly person at the cable company to tell you. The CM1000 manual's actually got a lot of good information in it. And I'm looking at troubleshooting here. And it doesn't mention slow uploads as being something. Yeah, I mean, that's why there's DOCSIS. That's why they want you to use DOCSIS, is so that they can manage the connection in all sorts of arbitrary ways. So it's completely possible for them to say, oh, yeah, after 30 seconds, let's slow him down. Completely possible. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The photo guy, Chris Marquardt, just around the corner. But let's take more calls. On the line, Brian from Santa Maria, California. Hi, Brian.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm great. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. I'm looking for a video platform streaming service that I can host independently on my own website. I have a YouTube channel where I do live high school sports.
Oh, neat.
And I had some problems recently where YouTube randomly decided to close down my channel, and then through a fight, I was able to get it back. But I don't want to face that problem again.
Yeah. So this is the advantage of YouTube is it's free. And I'm going to tell you, any other solution, might cost you money. Twitch would be the other, the other reasonable competitor is twitch.tv. I don't know if you've tried them yet.
I have not.
Yeah. So that's Amazon's service. In both cases, Google and Amazon kind of flexing their network prowess, showing off what they can do, streaming hundreds of thousands of video streams simultaneously and all of that. I suspect that at least for Amazon, that's why they have Twitch, is to show off what AWS can do. YouTube makes money for Google, quite a bit of money for Google. So there's no question why they do it. The problem is, there's terms of service, and there's also, unfortunately, quite a bit of automation in enforcing those, and they make mistakes all the time. But at least for instance, we stream on both Twitch and YouTube. So if one of them knocks you off, at least you have the other one as a backup. And it's not too hard to do both, to be honest with you. It's not. You just have to have the capability of sending 2 streams at the same time instead of 1.
Yeah, I currently use OBS as my broadcast, and through the way I have it set up, only one is free, and then I have to subscribe in order to get 2 or more outlets.
Right, and you also have to have a lot of bandwidth. And I imagine you're streaming from the stadiums, right?
I stream live from the stadiums on a 5G hotspot.
Yeah, so that's going to be the biggest qualm in sending 2 streams simultaneously is limited bandwidth. So, yeah, you probably should stick with one. Try Twitch. Twitch is free. It's very much the same as YouTube, except that unlike YouTube, it's focused on live streaming. YouTube, of course, makes most of its money on downloads. Do you want and you can do this on Twitch, do you want it to record your stream?
Yeah, well, what we were looking for is, as the company I work for, we were kind of looking for to put a paywall up on videos that aren't live. On like our collection. So if you want to watch a video that's not live, you have to pay a value to prevent scouting from other teams.
Oh, clever. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's why you do that, huh? Twitch has probably some ways to do it, but they're not so much focused on store and forward. In fact, what you could do with Twitch is do it live. You can record as you're doing it, either on Twitch or in OBS, and then upload those videos to YouTube where you already have a pay system set up. That would be one way to do it as well. And then you still have, and by the way, then you kind of have both platforms if you want. Another way to stream live, I guess. How many viewers do you have?
Depending on the sport, we get anywhere from 3 to 1,000.
Oh, okay.
300 to 1,000. Excuse me.
Okay. 300 to 1,000. Okay, so there are other platforms like Telegram. I'm not sure what the limit on Telegram is for the size of a group, but you can video stream from Telegram, for instance. There are a lot of services like this, Facebook, Telegram, and so forth. The thing is the number of people. Let me see how big you can make a Telegram group. I remember they expanded it significantly. Well, they say unlimited. Okay. Wow. So that's another one you could look at. And that would give you some capabilities in terms of you could have it be a private group. People could have to get an invitation and so forth. So that's another way to do it. For people to use it, though, they'd have to have Telegram. I think they can do Telegram in the browser. I think they do have a browser version of it. Just a little more complicated. Everybody understands how to stream YouTube. Probably most people could figure out how to stream Twitch. It's very similar. You give them an address and they click it and it goes there. Something like Telegram or Facebook might make it a little more complicated. Facebook would be another good one to look at, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about video. Now, there's chat room saying Vimeo, but does Vimeo do live streaming chat room? I don't remember them doing live streaming. Oh, yeah. Host virtual events. So Vimeo, the problem with Vimeo, the only reason I'd worry a little bit about Vimeo is they've moved more towards a pay model. They really want big companies to pay for that. And I don't know if you want to pay for your streaming or not.
I'm interested in putting a small budget towards it.
Okay.
To create my own television station on the internet.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do. Yeah. If you go to Twitch, if you go,
what I was looking for, and then maybe using Twitch and YouTube as secondary outlets to gain revenue
right.
through short clip videos.
So we stream live at live.twit.tv. You can see this show there streaming live. It's like a TV station. When we aren't doing live stuff, we have reruns. And we do that on YouTube Live, Ustream, which is owned by IBM. And I think we're grandfathered in there. I think you have to pay on Ustream, but that's another one to look at. They're designed to be doing exactly what you're talking about. And Twitch. Okay. Vimeo does it as well. Facebook does it as well. Facebook might be best for your audience because they probably all are on Facebook. Vimeo, now that I look at it, absolutely does live streaming. That's a big part of their business model. So that's another. I really like Vimeo. I just worry about how much it would cost in the long run. But you could talk to them and see. And OBS would work. Twitch has its own version of OBS, which is basically OBS. So if you're already familiar with OBS, you could either use OBS and give it your Twitch endpoint, or you could do it using their somewhat simpler OBS tool. So the thing is, this is an expensive thing to do, you know? I mean, we're very lucky that there are companies like Twitch and YouTube that'll do it for free because it's a lot of bandwidth. Yeah. How fun. Do you do the play-by-play? Are you the engineer? What do you do?
I do Actually, I do a little bit of everything. I am the play-by-play guy, but I set up the broadcast every game.
How fun.
I program the network for YouTube and.
That's awesome.
The OBS system and everything.
Well, have fun. That's great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, camera guy, coming up. That's really cool. And is it just regional? Which region is it? Is it just around Santa Maria or?
Yeah, I work for Mission College Prep.
Oh, neat.
It's out of San Luis Obispo, a private high school.
So it's all their games.
Yeah, it was all their games, football and basketball, and we travel. The company I work for is called Prep Sports Network.
Okay.
And we travel with the team.
I would think that they would have, that company would have all sorts of ways of handling this, yes?
Well, we're a startup company is what we are. And
got it.
We started in radio using...
audio only, yeah.
Yeah, doing audio only. And then the pandemic brought us into video. And now I'm trying to expand the video model into something bigger and better than what it is.
Great idea. Yeah, great idea. Vimeo would probably be a good company to talk to because that's, then you would have a deal as Prep Sports with Vimeo. And they would give you all sorts of capabilities you wouldn't have otherwise. You'd get much better service, but at a higher price.
Yeah, so that's why I was looking at possibly a pay channel.
Yeah.
Where I'm paying for the service.
Yeah, you might be able to make it back. Exactly.
so I'm not getting knocked off the air either because that creates headaches when parents start calling and go, "Where's the channel?
Where's my kid?"
Yeah, that drove me insane for a week. Everybody asking me where it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's terrible. What did they knock you off for?
Why, like, the only way to do that is to create your own.
Why did they? What was their excuse?
Originally, they said it was for content. It was inappropriate content.
What?
And I'm like, we're a high school sports channel.
What?
What's inappropriate about that? And then they said it was hate speech. And then I'm like,
oh my God. That's the problem with these automated tools. That's exactly the problem. They're completely automated. There's no human. Obviously, when you appealed, finally got a human involved. They said, "Oh, yeah, sorry." But that took you a week. That's crazy.
It took me over a week, and they said it was hate speech. So I narrowed it down to, I guess, when I said somebody took a bad shot.
Oh, you're kidding.
You know,
that's hate speech.
Oh, that must be hate speech.
He gave him an elbow. That's hate speech. No, you know, it's completely automated, and you know, that's the problem. You can't argue with robots. So I think Vimeo might be a better platform for you just for that reason alone.
I appreciate that.
Hey, I appreciate your call. Thanks. Let me know how it works out.
Thank you, Leo.
Cool, Brian. Take care. Hey, we're going to have more Tech Guy in just a bit, but I want to tell you about this thing I discovered. I am using it religiously now. I think we're all concerned about pollution, about saving the planet, about plastics in the ocean. I am in every way in my life trying to get rid of single-use plastics, and Blue Land provides me with this incredible solution that saves me money, saves water, saves transportation costs, and saves plastics. Do you know an estimated 5 billion, with a B, plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away every year? I love liquid hand soap. It's very convenient, but I don't love the waste. Well, another problem, by the way, is 90% of that cleaning solution or the hand soap or any liquid product that you use in the home, 90% of it's just water. So that big old trucks driving around the country just transporting lots of water, 90% water. That's a lose-lose for you, a lose-lose for the planet. Stop wasting water. Stop throwing out plastic. Get Blue Land's revolutionary refill cleaning system instead. Blue Land, it was founded on the belief that a cleaner planet starts by eliminating plastic waste. They make great, powerful, you're not compromising here, powerful, effective cleaners for your entire home. For instance, the Blue Land hand soap comes in these beautiful, heavy glass jars. They have to be glass because they have to be heavy. You don't want them flimsy, right? With the pump. But instead of all that water, instead of throwing out the plastic each time and getting a new one, you just get these little tablets. They ship them to you in the mail. If you want, you can even subscribe. You put warm water in the bottle, put the tablet in, it dissolves. You've got foaming hand soap. It's great. And by the way, they have some of the best scents ever. At Christmas, do this next Christmas. I got all the Christmas scents. So now when I wash my hands, I have them all over the house, but when I wash my hands at the kitchen sink, I smell like gingerbread. I love it. I know it's weird. They have lots of beautiful scents that are appropriate year-round. Iris agave, perine lemon, lavender eucalyptus. I think I have a cucumber lemon in my bathroom. I just love it. It's not just hand soap, though. It's all the household cleaners, and they come in these beautiful bottles. Those, in that case, they're lightweight plastic, but you don't throw them out at the end of the bottle. You put a tablet in, you put the water in, your water, no shipping, and you get these great cleaners. They've got toilet cleaners. Oh, in fact, good news, because they sell out of this every time. The Blue Land tablet toilet cleaner is back in stock. You're going to want to get it before it sells out again. These are great. You throw it in the toilet, you go do the rest of your chores, do some vacuuming, whatever, come back, scrub the toilet, you're done. It's fantastic. They have kits. So it's great. You can start with the Clean Essentials kit. There's a hand soap duo kit. It was, by the way, housewarming gift from my daughter when she moved to her new apartment. Gave her the whole thing. It was a wonderful housewarming gift. They have laundry tablets, dishwasher tablets, plastic-free. So really, this is a great way to do it. You put them in, just, you know, and they do a great job on the laundry. Actually, Lisa did an experiment on me. I didn't even know it. She said, instead of using the other ones, I'm not going to tell you when, but I'm going to swap in the Blue Land. I couldn't tell the difference. Oh, and we use their dryer balls. Get these. They're wool dryer balls. They're fantastic. That's an old-fashioned solution, I guess. I'd never seen them before. I love it. Instagrammable bottles, they're beautiful. You will love them. They don't have a lot of advertising on it. They're just very simple, but they're forever bottles. They start at $10 when you buy a kit, and you use them forever. You can always get new ones if you decide, but that's the idea, is to really eliminate the single-use plastics. The refill tablets start at just $2. So you're saving a lot of money. You're saving the planet, saving the money, and you're not, I think sometimes people think, well, it's going to be a sacrifice. No, you're not sacrificing anything. These are great solutions. I'm a massive Blue Land fan. I want you to try it today. You will love it. We've got a deal for you. 20% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/techguy. 20% off, please. Just trust me on this. You will love it. And again, you got a baby shower, housewarming, any kind of event like that. These are great gifts. Blueland.com/techguy. We've got everybody around the station using it. Very popular. Blueland.com/techguy. 20% off your first order of any Blue Land product. So, stock up. Get all the gifts ahead of time. Blueland.com/techguy. You will thank me for it. And your planet will thank you. Blue Land. Thank you, Blue Land. And now back to the Tech Guy Show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. With me, Chris Marquardt, the photo guy. He's my personal photo sensei at sensei.photos. Written many books on photography. Of course, leads workshops, teaches people, helps us every week get better pictures. Hello, Chris.
Hello. Just finishing up the manuscript for the third edition of the film photography book, which
exciting.
We just found out is going to go back into a translation, so it will be out.
Oh, good.
In English.
Oh, good. Do you do the translation? Because your English is perfect.
It's not perfect, and I look over it. I try to supply whatever I can, and then a native speaker.
A trade perfect. Yeah. So I think 90% of the people listening go, what do you mean? He's not a native speaker? No, he's from Germany. This guy's English, though, is impeccable. I think you could probably do your own translations.
I had 30, 40 years to learn, to practice. So it does help. It does help.
It does help. So today, what is our topic?
Well, so here's the thing. Do you probably are the guy with the camera in your surroundings. I'm the guy with the camera in my surroundings. And a lot of listeners will be the person with the camera. And of course, you get asked to take photos at events, a party, or, the best compliment you can make a photographer is tell them, you have such a great camera. It must take great pictures. Can you take some for us? Of course, that's never the camera. It's the photographer. But you will be the person who gets asked to be the party photographer, the event photographer, maybe even the wedding photographer, or there's some social gathering of sorts.
I always say no to that. Too much pressure.
Yeah, but it might be good practice. That's the thing. And or someone might pay you for it. So what I did just the other night is I did cover an event. So I want to just briefly go over a few things there that have helped me in the past to make that to make the result a compelling product or story or something that people will like to look at. So what I tend to do is, well, first of all, use whatever camera you have, okay? Especially today's, even smartphones have night mode, they're good, and some events might be a bit on the dark side. So you can get away with quite a lot there. Of course, if you have a bigger camera with swappable lenses and so on, then that is your tool of choice. But I've shot the other night with my DSLRs, but also with my smartphone. iPhone, perfect tool.
I think,
for
though,
a lot of these
if somebody hires you to shoot their wedding and you're shooting it with a camera phone, they might be suspicious.
I'm not necessarily saying a wedding. No, okay. Of course not. But here's the thing. There are 3 or 4 shots that I took throughout the night that I couldn't get any other way, like a panoramic shot of the audience, that kind of stuff. That was the best way to do it with a smartphone and throw them in, and no one has complained. So, hey, so I tend to split these kind of things into phases. There's let me just bring up a few slides here, just a few photos here from that event. So first thing is you have a preparation phase, which is before the event, then you have during the event, then you have after the event. And the thing I like to do is this is kind of a reportage. This is kind of just me tagging along and looking what's going on here during the setup. Don't forget the details. Don't forget even the juxtapositions. Here's an example of a mixing board. The look over a mixing board onto the stage. So this was a performative event on a stage, and it was a fairly big setup. I think we're talking about 1,000 people in the audience. So, and it's good to be there early. It's good to make yourself familiar with the venue, so you know what's going on, and then
look for angles too. I always look for places I could go to shoot something different and interesting. This is a great angle, right? Going up to the soundboard.
Absolutely, and look for angles, and also look for these things before. So in this case, when the lights are out, you'll have to fight your way through like black curtains and things, and it's better to know where to go when you check that out up front. The whole setup procedure is part of the story. It's part of the story, and what you'll also notice is that it works much better if you have what we call coverage. And coverage is not just what's on the photo, but how it's shot. It's more like throw in a few wide-angle shots, throw in a few telephoto shots. This is your chance to play with all your fancy lenses, or if you have a new iPhone with all the built-in cameras there, the telephoto, the wide-angle, the medium size. I like behind-the-scenes stuff because that's what people usually don't get to see. Right, people in the audience, people out in the front. So this was a proper, like a television production. So I just enjoyed being backstage and looking over people's shoulders, and they have all these nice mixers and these nice panels with a lot of buttons on them and screens and things. It adds context. Later.
Mm-hmm. It's also interesting, as you say, especially people don't get to go backstage. It's always fun to see backstage.
And for people like us who are more on the techie side, that's exciting. That's very exciting to see. And even you, probably after all these years, you still like to play with the technology.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I live for.
There's definitely an attraction there. And then details of people. Here's a hand of one of the performers holding his glass.
I like this. This is not something you would normally see in event photography. Just a simple detail. All you're seeing is the hand and the glasses, but it speaks volumes. It's great.
And hands do speak volumes. Hands are so important. And it's a detail, and it tells a bit of the story. Maybe there's some anticipation. The event hasn't started yet, and there's some concentration going on. There's all of these things that you can place in a photo like that. And then, of course, like there's a screen with something on. Take a picture of that screen from a weird angle. That's instead of an artsy kind of shot during the setup, and then again, a wider angle shot, a telephoto shot. Just combine these and cover whatever you get, and then during a performance like that, find a different perspective. You can shoot from the front, but I've actually managed to make my way behind the stage and stick the camera or stick the lens through some curtains and shoot a picture that's more from the perspective of the performers. And don't forget the audience. And if you're not sure about, this was a masked audience because we're still in the pandemic, so everyone was wearing a mask, and it ended up being a lot of photos from behind, like up around the soundboard and behind.
Because you didn't want to get the masks, or?
Well, this leaves out the masks. It's a privacy thing here in Germany. That's true. So you end up trying to find ways around whatever things are there.
Germans crack me up because while they'll have no hesitancy to all get naked in a sauna, they really don't want their picture shown on the screen. They really want their...
Or you combine the pictures and the sauna, that's a definite no-go.
No, that would be a no as well, I'm sure, yeah. It's a fascinating... in fact, we sometimes call it blurmany because in Germany, Google Maps has to blur the fronts of buildings, of homes, because people don't want to see those.
Not all of them.
Yeah, only upon request, Yes, I know. People don't want their homes seen on Google Maps. Hey, hey, whatever. This is great advice. It's something, you're right, people don't normally think about, but if you're the guy with the camera or gal and you get to be known that way, you are going to be asked to do this. And even if you're not, the opportunity I often, maybe because I'm antisocial, take advantage of it and say, I'll be the photographer so I don't have to be at the party. Chris Marquardt is at sensei.photo. Our word of the week, or of the month is?
Expensive.
Take a picture illustrating TG expensive. Tag it TG expensive. Upload it to our Flickr group. We'll talk about them next week. Thank you, Chris. Meta will no longer allow the sharing of publicly available private home addresses. Well, I would hope not. That's called doxing. Thank you. I really enjoyed those photos. I especially liked the one of the speakers sitting there thinking about what he was going to say, and the shot from behind of the speakers.
I didn't get to the after party.
So. This is great. What was the event?
This is a German podcast.
Nice.
A big German podcast, and they do their sometimes do a live show in front of an audience.
How fun.
This was a fairly big production this time around, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Very cool. Very cool. It is nice to be asked to do stuff like that. Don't ask me, though. All right, Chris.
It was also the first time in years, and
you were out and about
room with that many people.
I know. Isn't that great? It's such a good feeling. Yeah. Well, I know things are getting rough again, but maybe we can bully our way through this one and get to normal. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Take
See
care.
You again next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Shane on the line. Our next call from Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, Shane.
Hey, Leo. Can you hear me?
Come on closer to the phone.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out which mic I'm on.
You're on the other mic.
The other mic?
not that one. The other one. Anyway, what's going on? And we'll figure. I can hear you. It's just you're distant.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So here's my problem. I'm beginning my Twitch stream, and my stick is I'm Sugar Skulls, and I wear a skull mask, and I play guitar to music that I write.
Sounds awesome.
Right?
Sugar Skulls are a feature of the Mexican Day of the Dead.
Yes.
In fact, when you see the Day of the Dead iconography, I did not know this. That's actually sugar skulls, not human skulls, when you see those all over. So is it twitch.tv/sugar skulls?
I believe that's it, yes.
Awesome. And what kind of music do you play?
All kinds of music. Like I write like funk, I write heavy metal, I write just all kinds.
Nice. So
here's where the problem lies, right? Is Bluetooth. For some reason, and I'm a desktop engineer by trade.
Yeah. which means Bluetooth to you is an anomaly, an abomination, a crime against humanity. Okay, go ahead.
That complaint all users have of, I can't connect my Bluetooth.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
You're not allowed to do that. Stop doing that. Anyways, so what I was planning on doing was taking some Bluetooth headbuds and putting them inside the mask, and that way I could hear or monitor what's going on. Well, for some reason, Windows 11 does not like Bluetooth, or any of the Bluetooth devices I have. And I've also seen this, like I've got, of course, Windows 10 devices, and they seem to connect fine. But of course, on my personal PCs, I've updated to Windows 11. And then I tried my phone, or Phone Link, I guess is what it's called now, to see if, I could work out some kind of connection there. Well, no, even the Phone Link it gives me an error that says I've got some kind of Bluetooth issue. Now,
and by the way, I think that's the problem right now is Your microphone is not connecting.
I don't know which one it is.
People sometimes say, you're the tech guy. Why do you have technical difficulties? Because, there we go. Whatever that is, that's the microphone.
Okay.
That's the microphone. That loud one there. People always say, why are you having so much problems, tech guy? Because I'm the tech guy. I use more stuff and I mess up more often as a result. So
this is better.
Yes, so much better. So the issue is that you want this microphone. Tell me again, because I'm a little confused.
I want to use the Bluetooth as like a wireless monitor, right?
So you can listen. Okay.
So I can listen, and if I hold the okay, so let's say
most of the time, I got to tell you, when you have a microphone that you're using with a computer, very often they'll like the Yeti and the Audio-Technica ATR microphones, they'll have their own headphone jack on them because Bluetooth adds some latency. And the worst thing in the world, if you're talking, is having even a few hundred milliseconds latency because it sounds like you're Lou Gehrig at Yankee Stadium.
It's playing music really messes with.
And music's even worse.
You're moving. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you don't want that lag at all. Yeah. Exactly. So maybe the trick is not to do Bluetooth monitoring.
Wired, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bluetooth adds latency latency inevitably because of the way it works.
Which you did answer a question a while back where I was asking about the Bluetooth MIDI connectors, and you were right. They do add latency. So as you're in your music, you're like, okay, well, this is digital music, should be fine. But yeah,
the kiss of death for musicians is this latency, and unfortunately, it's, as you know, as an engineer, it's predominant in computing. A lot of musicians will not use Linux because or Android, because until recently the Linux kernel had issues with latency. They've worked very hard with Pipewire and other solutions to fix that, and I think they have fixed it. But, that's important. It's one of the reasons I think a lot of musicians use Macs, just because very, very low latency, non-existent latency. Yeah.
That's the one thing that I do use a Mac for, is for music.
Yep.
Of course, the other good thing is remoting into a Windows box, right? If you're if you're a Windows admin, that's about the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you ever try to do a happy birthday, everybody knows this when they're doing remote work from home. If you try to sing happy birthday to a colleague on Zoom, it never works. Because you're not in sync. Everybody's a little bit different and a little bit off, and it's the worst thing I ever heard.
Which is something I've been looking for like ever, is a way for all musicians to collab on a song through either Teams or...
there are ways. Because of this, there are companies that have formed to do this, and software and all sorts of stuff, because during COVID, everybody's wanted to do remote collaboration, right?
Right.
It's a historically hard thing to do, and I don't have experience with the ones that do this, but if you search for it, you'll find many tools that purport to do this. They're trying to do this. This is something everybody's trying to solve. It's hard because compression's the real problem. You got to compress it before you put it out over the pipe, and compression takes time, and time equals latency. So there is somebody in the chat room, thank you, Retcon5, says there is a monitor for latency in Windows called Resplendence, or from resplendence.com, a latency monitor for Windows 11. It checks it for real-time audio processing. That's kind of interesting.
Is this an app that I would have to...
Yeah, and I don't know. It looks like it... I don't know if they charge for it. It doesn't look like they do. But it's a real-time audio suitability checker. I hope it has a big thing that says, this is unsuitable. Shane, so Sugar Skull, huh? And you are not at twitch.tv/Sugar Skull. So, but SUGARSKULL on twitch.tv. And you're going to do live guitar performances?
It's spelled a little different. It's with a SH for sugar.
SHU or SHA? SHUGAR? Sugar Skull. Je suis moi? Sugar Skull. That's a French person. Okay, we're going to work that out, Shane. You're going to call me back, and you're going to tell me so we can give you a plug. How about that?
Will do.
I love watching live music on Twitch and YouTube. It's great. Reddit has a live channel. RPAN.
Amazing. Like, we used to have to go through bars and everything else. And new kids and new musicians are on Twitch, and I'm like, what?
I see so much great music. What it reminds me, though, I had this epiphany. I was in the New York subway, and there's a person there, brilliant musician, playing like their heart out, just for a few pennies as somebody walks by in the subway. And the epiphany was, there are many, many very talented musicians that never get to perform and never make a living doing it.
You just tip somebody $5 on Twitch, and they're ecstatic about it. And you're like,
well,
budget coffee is all.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people making some pretty good money on Twitch. They're millionaires on Twitch. We know this because it leaked out. But most of them, I don't think, are playing guitar. I think mostly they're playing video games. Hey, good luck to you.
It's Shuga, SHUGASKULLZ.
SHUGASKULLZ?
Yes.
Well, there's one way to stand out. Sugar Skulls. I'll look for it. Hey, thank you. It's great to talk to you, Shane.
All right, Leo. Thank you very much.
It is transformative for creatives. YouTube, Twitch, Reddit. I mean, it's we live in amazing times for somebody who wants, to perform for others. It's really remarkable. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888, ask Leo, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Hour number 3 of the Tech Guy Show kicks off with Charles in Springfield, Illinois. Hello, Charles.
Good afternoon, Leo.
Good afternoon.
I've got a radio sync problem with trying to get local broadcasters for video that's on like cable TV.
Oh, you want to watch a ball game, but you don't want to listen to the terrible TBS announcers. You want to listen to your fine home team announcers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for the last few years, I've had a portable radio called a Sport Sync radio, which would do that in half-second increments.
Oh, cool. Yeah, just to turn the knob. Yeah.
Up to 16 seconds. But now the delay's gotten more than that. And
really? That's a lot.
It's more like 25 to 30 seconds on some broadcasts. And this radio has got a new one, supposedly, that will go up to a minute, but for the last 9 months, it's not been available. So either it's a chip shortage or it's
probably
container chip off the LA coast.
Yeah. These chip shortages hurt so many things. It's a cool idea. I didn't know there were such things, these radios that would actually do the sync. So,
is there a software solution?
Yeah. In fact, a lot of these days, so I used to, when my Giants were in the World Series some years ago, same problem. I didn't want to watch the national announcers. I wanted to hear my good local guys. And many TV, I guess I did it with I'm trying to think how I did it. Oh, I know how I did it. So I had the game on the TiVo, but you could do this with a DVR, and I'd pause it. And the trick is to pause it at the back crack. And I'm listening on the radio, and I'm waiting for that back crack, because that's as close to an instantaneous sound as you can get. And as soon as I hear the back crack, press play. So that's a poor man's way of doing that, but it worked. And then I can listen to the play-by-play on the radio. The back crack might be off by a little bit, but not enough to be annoying.
But the radio is always ahead.
Yeah. Well... in this case, I'm thinking the radio's behind. You're saying it's more than 25 seconds ahead?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like over the air from a local station, and it's not bouncing off a bunch of satellites for the video.
Yeah, and you can't make a TV signal move into the future.
Right.
So I guess that system, I don't know, maybe I wonder how that worked for me. Somehow it worked. Yeah, if the audio is ahead, that's a little more challenging. There are ways to do that. There is something called Learfield, the chat room's just given me, called Sync My Game. Oh, and you use an app. Okay, so this is an app, and you do the same thing that I did, which is you mute your TV audio, pause the game at, say, the back crack, open the app, wait for the audio to catch up. In other words, the app is in the other direction. It's behind intentionally, and then you can sing them up just like I did. So that's one way to do it with an app. And in fact, I think if you use the MLB app, it probably is behind. Streaming audio is often way behind, right? Because of the nature of how streaming audio has to be put on the internet. So use the MLB. Is it baseball?
Well, I've done NFL, I've done college sports, and now baseball.
Yeah. So that's what I would try with baseball, is try the MLB app.
Well, I can't get my local announcers on the MLB.
Oh, yeah. Okay, tune in. That's what I use. You know what? I bet you that's what I was doing. So I'd pause the TiVo, and TuneIn was way behind. That's what it was. That's why this system worked. So TuneIn, which is a radio, and there are a number, iHeart has radio, but TuneIn seemed to have all my ball games on it. I guess it had the local radio station. In fact, sometimes with TuneIn, I've noticed you can listen, they'll give you a choice. Which team's announcing team do you want to hear? Barring blackouts, this is going to work great because TuneIn is behind because it's streaming audio.
Okay.
So does that make sense? So you get the game, you pause it, right at some vital moment that you can time, listen, then be listening on the TuneIn app. TuneIn does NFL. I don't know if it'll do your high school sports. It probably does some college sports, and certainly does Major League Baseball. And that's an app on your smartphone.
Okay. I saw on the internet that there was some software that, like, you would do audio out from the radio into the computer.
Yeah, I mean, a computer is completely capable of doing this, obviously.
But I'm on a Mac and I can't seem to find anything that will work on a Mac.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to. The one I always use was Replay Radio, and I think that is Windows only. Come to think of it, yeah.
Yeah.
From Applian. Let me see if they have a Mac version. Yeah, it's Windows. Unfortunately. Yeah, Replay Radio would probably do that as well. It'd be the same idea as you kind of tape delaying your audio. I'm sure any Mac, actually that would work with any, what you would want is a Mac thing that would record and play back later. That's an interesting challenge. I bet you there are tools, maybe from Rogue Amoeba, which does a lot of audio tools, rogueamoeba.com. They have tools like Loopback and Audio Hijack. I bet you they have a way. I'd have to look. But that's a place I would look. They're kind of the king of audio capture on the Mac. And I wonder if they haven't, you should write to them and they would make it, because I bet you they're baseball fans. And they would make a way for you to watch the network broadcast but get the local announcers. I'm completely with you on that. Did you, boy, they're talking about in the chat room about Apple TV's doing Friday Night Baseball now, and they're trying to do it all Apple-y, and it's terrible.
Well, that's another reason to.
The picture is 4K, beautiful picture. I even like the graphics. They're trying to do some kind of modern graphics that are not like Major League Baseball on network television graphics. But then they have these awful announcers who I don't think have done much announcing. And the thing that really annoys me, they put background music behind the graphics for some reason. Like you might be bored. So there's like bad background music behind the graphics. Anyway, that's a perfect example. Watch the 4K signal from Apple TV and listen to your local play-by-play guys for some decent play-by-play. Very good idea. I like it. I'm going to do that. Use TuneIn. Try that anyway. CBS has its own. iHeart has for the iHeart stations. But TuneIn really, they even have a Major League Baseball section on TuneIn Radio. It's an app for iPhone and iOS and Android.
I'll try that.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call. And who are you rooting for?
St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis. So you're closer to St. Louis than Chicago.
Yeah, I'm about an hour and a half to St. Louis and about 3 hours to Chicago.
Yeah. We are hereditary enemies. So I'm sorry. No, I forgive you. I forgive you. From many years ago, the Cards beat the Giants in the playoffs. It was in the Ozzie Smith days, and I was very angry, but I've forgiven you now, 20 years later.
Okay.
It's over. Pleasure meeting you, Charles. It is baseball season. We're back, and I love that. 8888 Ask Leo. Yeah, here's part of the problem is that video decompresses generally slower than audio. So audio tends to get ahead of video. So almost all receivers have a way of fixing that, TVs too. But this is a slightly different issue. Oh, that's no good. So John's telling me Audio Hijack does have a sync module, but unfortunately it only goes to 1,000 seconds. Milliseconds, even worse. 1 second. That's even worse. So that's more for other solutions. That's how I did it. I had a TiVo. I'd pause the TiVo when I saw the bat about to hit the ball. I'd pause it. Then I'd use blech. You can't say blech to the Red Sox. I was not born in the Bronx. I was born in Manhattan, Mike B. Let's get it straight. And the Mets didn't exist when I was born. So I guess I'm a Giants fan now. I think I have to be considered a Giants fan. Well, we had the New York City Metro. Let's see. Dodgers and Giants were both gone. Although because my dad was a Giants fan in his youth, when we moved to California, he was excited. Then we went to see a Giants game, and they had, at the time, a Candlestick, really ugly, stained AstroTurf, which they replaced quickly. But he was so turned off by that, he became an A's fan. And to this day, he's still an A's fan. So, blech. But I grew up in Providence, and of course, the Red Sox were our team in Providence. I am wearing, I should point out, my opening day braces. I don't think you probably can't see that. Let's see, I don't think I have a close-up of those, but there's a scoreboard and a guy hitting a ball and running the bases. I wear these once a year. I have so many Quad candlesticks, so many. Actually, one of the regrets I have, I had a Giants hat that was rimmed all the way around with Quad candlesticks. It was so cold at Candlestick Park that if you survived 9 innings of a night game, as you were leaving the game, they would hand you a pin. They called it the Quad candlestick, which had the Giants logo covered in snow. and I had so many Quad candlesticks that I put them on my hat all the way around. And I've lost them now somewhere. I don't know. Wow. Rocking and rolling here at the Tech Guy Show. 8888 Ask Leo. Thanks to Professor Laura, our musical director. Mark is on the line from Los Angeles. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Leo. Got a smartphone question for you.
Yes.
Recently got a Pixel 5a. I went to activate it with T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And I was told through the T-Mobile website that this phone can use an eSIM, and it is just as safe as a SIM card.
Oh, I'd say safer.
Oh, is it safer? That's
yeah.
I'm calling you to see if that's true.
So, the SIM card is that little tiny chip that you can find in your phone. I think probably a lot of people have never even looked, but most modern phones have a little tiny drawer. You could see a little hole. You could push that hole in with a little SIM picker. You push it in, it pops out. There's a little SIM in there. It says IC. It's an integrated circuit that contains the information the phone company needs to identify you. It's what makes your phone your phone. But most new phones now support eSIMs. Certainly all the iPhones do, which means no more drawer and no more SIM card. It's just hardwired into the phone itself. So why is it more secure? Well, first of all, nobody can steal it. which is a huge benefit. You'd have to steal the phone, right? And it is possible for somebody, if you leave your phone lying around, to pop out your SIM, take it, and then you could do all sorts of things with it. Besides making phone calls, you might use it for the two-factor authentication codes and things like that for identity theft. That's one issue. I think also the eSIMs are more flexible because many phones have both a regular SIM drawer and an eSIM, which means you can have dual SIMs, which means you could have a work number and a home number. You can say, I only want to do data on one and only do phone calls on the other. I'm just looking at my iPhone. Yeah, it still has a SIM drawer, but it could also use an eSIM. And in the case of that Pixel, you could do both. So, yeah. So I think that there are advantages to the eSIM. You're right to raise the issue because it is software-based.
Right.
That means possibly somebody could hack the phone and without stealing your phone or getting physical access to it, somehow steal your eSIM. But I'm looking at a FAQ from the FCC that says it's more secure. They certainly want people to go to eSIMs. And all the companies are doing it too. Easier to change service providers and keep the same phone. When traveling internationally, you don't have to replace the SIM card. You just can choose from an eSIM, a new carrier, a local carrier, and you don't have to use that paper clip to unlock the compartment. I've seen people, I've done it, almost done it anyway, try to poke the microphone hole instead of the eSIM hole, which is a bad idea. So, I think eSIMs are the wave of the future. So, and as far as I know, no, I have not seen any security flaw associated with eSIMs.
Okay, well, that's reassuring.
Yeah. Enjoy, in other words.
Right.
When are you getting the phone? Are you going to get the phone?
Oh, I got the phone already.
Oh, good. You like it?
Well, it's all right. It's magic or anything. But.
That's the right answer, by the way. We geeks act like they're magic. They're not. It's just a phone. Mark, you got a good head on your shoulders. Well done.
Thank you.
Your mom raised a good child. Dan on the line from New Jersey. Hi, Dan.
Hello, Leo.
I love it. It's not magic. You're right. Hello, Dan. What can I do for you?
My son enjoys things like eclipses, solar eclipses, lunar eclipses.
Nice. That's going to be a nice, expensive hobby for you.
Well, it could be. I'm going to, once again, I guess I want you to help me spend some money.
I went all the way to Australia for a total eclipse of the sun. We went with a Geek Cruises, a Scientific American cruise. We had astronomers with us. We had scientists with us. We were on a cruise ship because it was out. You had to kind of go out off of Cairns, Australia to see it. And the cruise ship captain decided at the last minute that he was going to have clouds, and he moved. And, man, the astronomers on the boat were very angry.
Man.
So there's one coming, right?
There is one coming, I think, in the next weekend or something like that.
Well, it depends. I'm talking about solar eclipses. I think we're 2 years for the next solar eclipse. But he likes lunar eclipses as well?
He likes any eclipses, and he...
I love it. I do too.
He does animations.
Neat.
Of like where from what the moon is going to look like, or the sun, depending upon where you're going to be in the world.
So cool.
How complete it is. So he's like, and so anyway, he's been wanting to. He tried and failed pretty much. He wants to stream these eclipses live.
People do that. Absolutely, people do that. Yeah. So the next one is going to be visible from North America is the blood moon, May 15th. So you have a month to get ready for it.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. So ideally, you'd have a long lens, a telephoto of some kind, to stream it.
Now, he's got that.
Okay. He just wants to know how?
So what happens, and he has a Nikon camera.
Nice.
And not a DSLR, but it's something like a 950. It has like an amazingly long lens.
Perfect.
It can fill the...
Perfect. He'll want a tripod, obviously.
Right, he's got that. And so we've tried it, but apparently the Nikon, when you finally look up how to stream live, it says Canon cameras are great, but Nikon.
So which Nikon does he have again?
It's like the the P950 or something like that.
D950 maybe? Yeah. So what you want is something called clean HDMI. So there is an HDMI port on that in most cameras. It sends out video. But most of the time it sends out video with camera information superimposed on it. That's less than ideal. I mean, honestly, you could still stream it. Nobody cares. But it's, in fact, it might even look cooler. But that's the issue, is getting the clean HDMI out. The Coolpix 950 does have clean HDMI. So that's the good news, okay? But you have to go in the settings of the camera, and there is a setting under HDMI for clean HDMI output.
Okay, I'll try that.
So then that output, which is going to be wait a minute, you can't do 4K UHD output. It looks like it's going to be a little lower resolution. So that's just something to be aware of. If you wanted UHD, you're not going to be able to send 4K. But you can...
We just want to get it going, get it working.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
so I'm going to put a link to the 950 manual in the show notes, and you can go straight to it. And it has a way to get clean HDMI. You will press the movie, you go to the movie button, you have to press record. And so that may be another issue, is it may stop recording every 30 minutes. Sometimes a little tricksy. But the other issue could be, well, you probably have to get a special HDMI. Usually they have a micro or mini HDMI on the camera side going to an HDMI out. Then you'll go into a computer. And has he ever streamed before? Does he stream gaming or anything like that?
He's done. I forget exactly. He's done it a little bit.
So he'll know.
The problem.
You're going to use OBS.
It was like the power from the camera wasn't enough or something like that.
You can do it. I think it times out probably after 30 minutes, and that's a tax thing, believe it or not. But there'll be ways. Look in the manual. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Worst case, he has to turn it off and on again every 30 minutes.
But I feel like the problem was he needs to boost the signal to the computer. Like, it wasn't strong enough coming from the camera, and I was doing research for him like a while back, and it seemed like there are it needed like an intermediary device.
I don't think that's true. You'd need something that would take video in.
Right.
Most computers, the HDMI port is out only. So you need a way to capture that video that's coming in off of it. That's probably what they're talking about. And that's usually a capture card or a capture device. There are many devices that you could take the HDMI. This is intended to record TV or record video and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Goes into that thing. It's either USB or on a laptop, or if you have a desktop tower with slots, you can buy a card. You're going to get an external USB device almost certainly. It'll turn that into... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It'll turn that into bits, which then go into the computer, which then you can stream with OBS Studio or whatever it is he uses to stream.
Right. That's right.
So that's probably what they're talking about. It's not a booster. It's just something that can, because that's the real problem, is a computer does not have a video in port. Most computers, some do. Most do not have a video in port. The one we like, John is saying, and it's because it's cheap, and we are cheap, is from a company called AJA, and it's called the UTAP, UTAP, HDMI to USB capture card. Actually, AJA makes very good stuff. This is not cheap. I apologize. This is $400. How much does your son like doing this?
I know, exactly.
Thanks, John.
Start buying the low-end Canon's going to cost $400.
Yeah. No, don't get that AJA. AJA is for professionals. There's a company in Long Island, has the worst name ever, Hauppauge, HAUPP. Do you know them?
Yeah, I used to live in Long Island.
Oh, you know Hauppauge then. Hauppauge.com, they also sell converters for a much lower cost. Here's their HD PVR Pro 60, 4K in and out for vMix, Zoom, Skype, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Because this is such a hot thing these days, there's a lot of people who make this kind of stuff. This is nice because it's HDMI, USB 3, which is fast enough to give you decent video. You probably won't be doing 4K, though. You'll probably be doing 1080p, but that's plenty. That's fine. Let me just see what this one costs. Hapag. This is $150, so this is a little less. But there's even less.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's worth it. And so what's it called again? Or
this is from Hapag. You know how to spell it. You're one of the few, the proud, the Long Islanders. And it's the HD PVR Pro, and they specifically say it's for streaming.
Okay, beautiful.
I will put a link in the show notes as well. Oh, wait a minute now. You have a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
Oh, crud. All right. We'll find one. It says it works with Linux. Let me see if it works with Windows, with the Mac. If not, there are plenty of companies that make these. Elgato used to. I think they got out of the business. But just if you search for video capture card Macs, you'll find a bunch of them.
Perfect. That's what it is, a capture card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, that sounds like fun. Where's he going to stream it to, Dan?
He's got like a YouTube channel, which of course I can't think of the name. I'm too nervous to think of right now.
Oh, okay. That's so cool.
He'll do it on YouTube and record it and make comments. And it's amazing though. He's got thousands of people who watch these things.
Oh yeah.
We used to hold up the iPhone to the eyepiece of the camera.
Wow.
And stream from the iPhone.
This is a little better than that.
It wobbles.
Oh, I got something though for you. There is a program that will turn an iPhone into a camera, but it's not going to have enough zoom. Never mind. Elgato makes the HD60 S capture card for the Mac. They actually make a number of capture cards as little as $100. Elgato.
That's good. Elgato.
Yep.
That's it.
All right.
That's what I need.
Have a good one.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Okay, thanks.
Meanwhile, back on Earth.
Space.
Actually, he's in Mars or somewhere right now. Mr. Rod Pyle, spaceman on Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy Show. Hello, Rod.
Hey, how you doing?
I am well, author of Space 2.0 and First on the Moon. And he's the editor-in-chief of Ad Astra magazine from the National Space Society. And we always love talking about space. A host of This Week in Space on the TWiT podcast network. So with
Tariq Malik?
With Tariq. Okay, you want to give Tariq credit? Okay, can't stop you.
Yeah.
He's at space.com. He's a great guy. It's a really good show.
Although he didn't show up on Friday because he was at the biggest space conference of the year in Colorado and got stuck the night before and rerouted through Chicago, so he was actually on the plane while we were
See, when
doing our recording.
When Elon's rockets get,
yes,
and you could fly from Denver to LA in minutes, I tell you.
Just punch through that.
Yeah, plus get your astronaut wings. Speaking of astronaut wings.
Yes.
4 non-astronauts are on the space station.
Well, 3 non-astronauts and 1 retired astronaut.
Yeah, he should still be an astronaut. He's been in space before. Yeah.
Oh, he's not only been in space, he holds a spacewalk record. I mean, he's one of those soft-spoken chronic overachievers that drive me crazy because you sit. I feel like I should be. I met him at a bar, at an airport bar for an interview, but I felt like I should be sitting at his feet, going, "Just touch me, just touch my head." That's it.
They are kind of great heroes, aren't they? Astronauts.
They are. And most of them, especially current day, they're so humble about it.
Wow.
You just kind of want to give them a hug and say, thanks for being you, man, because you give me inspiration. And if I can come up to your ankles, But yeah, so they launched, they were in orbit for about 20 hours because you got to chase down the space station orbit.
That's kind of fun. That's a high speed chase of another color there. That's exciting.
Well, and you get time in the spacecraft, and for these guys who are all flying for the first time, for $55 million each at least.
We don't know, but that's the estimate. $55 million to be a space tourist.
Probably a little more to NASA for the space station.
How much training do they have to do?
Well, they don't have to do much. It could be a matter of weeks, but this particular crew trained for, I think, 9 months because they wanted to contribute to the science. So each of them carried up experiments or instructions for experiments from various institutes, mostly medical in nature.
But they're not
a bunch of others.
Traditional scientists. There's an Israeli businessman, a Canadian investor, an Ohio-based real estate magnate, people with lots of money. but not necessarily scientific training. And then, of course, Michael Lopez Alegria, who you interviewed, who is a former NASA astronaut. And it's his company, Axiom, that was doing this launch, right, with SpaceX's rocket.
He's a partner in it. And they're also, so they're going to do a number more launches over the next couple of years, but also, as I think we've discussed, in 2024, they're going to start launching their own modules up there. So they're going to connect modules to the space station.
So they could have a hotel up
habitats. They could have a hotel research facility. And the idea is to prove out that private industry can do this and then eventually disconnect from the space station when it's time for it to be deorbited, probably about 2030, maybe 2028, and then hook up those private modules together to create their own free-flying space station.
I love this idea.
Something Blue
I
Origin
love
is
this
planning
idea.
to do with orbital reef. Yeah, so ultimately you don't have the government spending, gosh, I think the ISS in total, not all U.S. money, but I think the total investment was estimated to be about $150 billion. But it's a miracle in orbit, so it was well worth it. But
well, just think of this. By the way, your $55 million does not cover meals. That's another $2,000 a day.
Meals, toilet facilities.
You got to pay for those. Wow.
Air, right? You got to pay for all that stuff. But they will be contributing. So and it's it's fair to say Etienne Stibbe, I hope I got his name right, the Israeli guy, was I think a major or a colonel in the Israeli Self-Defense Force. Larry Connor is a pilot of some renown as well.
So these are not just people schlubs off the street.
No, they're not me. Yeah,
they're schlubs with $55 million.
They're slightly lesser overachievers than Michael Lopez Alegria. So yeah,
But did he have to be there to be the steerer? What do you call it? The pilot? Well, did he have to be the steerer?
Yes, but at this point, it's an open question whether that's really necessary, because the Inspiration 4 flight didn't have a professional astronaut in charge. That was also on a Crew Dragon, but that didn't dock with the ISS. So I think for the first few, they want to have a professional astronaut, a retired astronaut up there
steering
to make sure, that process you're looking at.
But it could be completely automated.
Well, it is.
Wow.
They just don't do it that way all the time, but it can be completely automated. They had a problem, a video view from the space station that helps them rendezvous glitched for about 45 minutes, so they held off and just drifted nearby. But they were able to complete it, and ultimately it should be something they can do automatically. And in fact, the Russians have been doing automatic docking, rendezvous and docking for, I think, 30 years now. So it's easily done. There's a couple of things I want to cover before we run out of time. You had a caller about eclipses.
Yes, his son wants to stream it.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, there's lots of people doing it. He should add his signal to the mass. Lunar eclipses are great. You go out, you see the moon, get a little red, a little gray, a little red. But I think you've seen a solar eclipse, right?
Yeah. This is a blood moon. The solar, to me, a lunar eclipse is cool. Total eclipse is life-changing.
Yes, exactly.
Same words.
So we've got 2024, which you mentioned. That's on April 8th, 2024. Enters the U.S. around San Antonio, Texas. Exits around Maine, and goes near Dallas, Austin, Indianapolis, near Detroit, and through Montreal. So I'm definitely going, because I saw the one in Oregon in 2017, and like you said, that was just...
So did John, you went up, right, to see the one in Oregon? Yeah. This will be the last one until 2045 in the U.S., so you really do want to go see this.
Well, and if it's going to be cloudy and I'm going to miss it, I'd rather drive to miss it than go on a cruise ship.
Well, that was the frustrating thing. We saw some of it, and then the captain decided to move the boat. Which was weird.
Ask the passengers, because they paid the money, right?
Well, it's his boat. The captain gets to do whatever he wants. Lawrence Krauss was on board with us. He's a very famous science writer from Arizona State. And Lawrence was upset, verbally excited over the whole matter. He went all the way to Australia, got on the boat just to see the eclipse. So
this is not an inexpensive thing.
No, but at the same time, it is something you really want to see. There's something magical happens when the sun goes out. Actually, I'd prefer to do it on land because it gets very weirdly quiet. The animals all go, ooh.
The animals flip out because it's an unscheduled night.
Yeah.
And you can, on land, maybe at sea too, but on land you kind of see the shadow coming towards you and you can hear the rush of air as it cools down. And then at the moment of totality, the sky turns kind of silver, almost pearlescent.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of that. You know, I had seen video of it, but that doesn't communicate what really happens.
Yeah.
So you can see why primitive cultures went bonkers.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
It's like, what happened to the sun? It's noon, right?
Oh, yeah. And you even in your body, even though we are in theory civilized, also kind of go, uh-oh.
Yeah. It's not like one of the people in your chat said, I'm stepping in a closet. It's not quite the same.
No.
Because you're outside and this shouldn't be
Some
happening.
of the fun's taken away because you can't look straight at it. You really want to look straight at it. You really do.
Well, you could get your eclipse glasses. And
Yeah,
look at
get
it
your
for
eclipse
a few
glasses.
seconds at a time. Just make sure, and we'll talk about this before the next one, you got to be really careful to buy ones that are vetted.
Oh, yeah.
If
We
you
did
buy
that
the cheap
last
Chinese
time.
knockoffs.
Yeah, we went
your
on and
retinas
on
get
about
cooked.
that one. Yeah,
I had actual I had cataracts when I was in my 50s because as a kid
you looked
a cheap
at the
little
sun.
telescope with a solar
Don't
filter
do
and
it.
all that stuff. Don't do
Rod
it.
Pyle, space.nss.org. If it's off the planet Earth, he loves it. And that's why we love him. Thank you. Thank you there.
Thank you, sir.
It's great, Rod. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So some good totality in the U.S. I'm looking at the... I'm looking at the stripe of totality. Wow. Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Evansville, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Buffalo, Burlington, Montreal. This is good. This is going to be a good total eclipse of the heart.
I want to get a McLaren F1 and see if driving as fast as I can in the proper orientation will extend the totality of
John
it.
says it's important to get right in the middle because that's where the totality is the longest, of course.
Yeah.
I think up to
Although,
4 minutes on this one, somebody's saying.
That ideally that's true, although getting in the middle, depending on where you are, can be a bit of a bus wreck in terms of crowds and stuff. So
Right.
I was offline on 2017, but it was still 90 seconds or something, which was fantastic. And I was in a park in Prineville, Oregon, which had not been mobbed. In fact, it was almost empty. It was a public park, beautiful. It's Oregon, right? So it's like being in the middle of the Midwest somewhere. And there was hardly anybody there.
Where did you go, John, to see it? You were in Oregon. He was on a mountain in Oregon. Yeah. Did you have clear skies, John? Yeah. He says he really it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's a syzygy. So get ready, baby, for the syzygy. Syzygy.
Don't hurt me.
It's a syzygy. Syzygy, don't hurt me. Everyone in the U.S. will see at least a partial eclipse. That's kind of cool, too.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of partials and more
Not the same.
annular.
No.
Yeah.
The fun thing about a partial eclipse is playing with it. You can do things like, I remember when we had one, we were outside the brick house, and if you just hold up your glasses or something, you see the partial eclipse projected onto, the sidewalk and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's fun things you can do with it. Anyway.
Yeah, and if you go next to a tree, because of all the little points of focus it creates of the light coming through the leaves, you'll see 100 little tiny eclipse suns.
So cool.
Which is really cool. The first time I saw it, I thought, what? Oh, look at that. By the way, I ran out of time on the air, but before I forget, the podcast this week, we talked primarily about the Apollo 16 anniversary, which if you and I were alive then, if you saw it, of the lunar landing missions, that was one of the most engaging because those guys, John Young and Charlie Duke, were it was like a comedy show. It was like Abbott and Costello on the moon. It was hilarious. Really.
Was that the one where they were playing golf, or was that another one?
No, that was 14. This is the one that has the famous clickbait moment where John Young, not realizing he was on open mic, is talking about all the orange juice they were making these guys drink because they thought it would smooth out their cardiac rhythms. He said, oh, doggone it, Charlie, I got the farts again. And he starts cursing and talking about what it's like to have flatulence inside 220 cubic feet of pressurized lunar module. And finally, NASA's able to break it and say, "Hey, John, just want to let you know you're a hot mic."
You're
and he
on
goes,
the air.
How long's that been going on? That was kind of funny. Not exactly a high science moment, but a lot of great stuff in that mission. So if you get a chance, it's definitely worth checking out on YouTube. Highlight reels.
All right. Apollo 16. Gosh, long
50
time
years.
ago. 50 years. Wow. April 16th, 1972.
And to think that we did that in an era when transistors were only a few years old. It was
hard
so
to believe.
Primitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Hard to believe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I will see you in a week.
See you next week. Have a great show in between.
Thank you.
Take care.
Will. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you so much for letting me be your tech guy one more time. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks, of course, to the people who make the Tech Guy show possible, all up and down the premier networks, including Lady Laura, our musical director. Thanks so much to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel, who answers all the phones. Mostly, though, thanks to you for listening and calling, because I couldn't do it without you. The Tech Guy Show. Last segment of the day. Ken on the line from Anchorage, Alaska. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. As they say, long-time listener, first-time caller. I love your program.
Welcome. Welcome. It's good to have you.
A quick question. I just bought a shiny new laptop that's still in the box. I've seen some YouTube sort of things about the idea of backing it up before you let it do all of the connects and downloads and such, so you have a clean backup of the way you got it.
Yeah.
Worth doing?
It just depends on these days. I think it's less important because Windows has built in a recovery process that will get it back to the factory state. So in effect, you already have an image on your computer it's in a hidden partition. So and Windows 10 and 11 make it very easy to do. You can just do a system recovery and boom, go right back to that point. So, yeah. Used to be in the old days, I would image it when I did the first clean install. That way you have an install image that you can blast on very quickly. I would install everything, put in the passwords, do everything I like to do, get all the software on there and I get an image of that. And so the advantage of having those images is you can quickly get back to that point in time in a matter of minutes because images restore very quickly. After that, of course, though, that's when you start using the computer. Things start changing and that image rapidly gets, out of date. So it just depends. It's pretty easy to get back to the factory state nowadays on any modern PC. So I don't think it's as important. I don't think you need to unless, it's a little extra thing we used to do. If you're nostalgic, I would make sure you back up as you use the thing because the restore will not restore your data, your stuff that you're adding. So it is a very important thing to have a backup, but that doesn't need to be of the operating system of your applications. Those you're going to restore those when you restore Windows. You really want to back up the documents, the things you only create once. And I think it's important to get a backup service on your system that does it automatically so you don't have to think about it. Windows comes with its own backup. It's not the best. We used to have a sponsor, iDrive. That's a very good way to do it. There are a number of companies like that where you pay a monthly fee and it just runs in the background all the time. That's nice. If you're on a Mac, they have something called Time Machine that does pretty much the same thing. That's probably a good idea as well. Just having that continuous backup because you will, things happen. You will throw out something, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I use iDrive.
Perfect.
Based on your recommendation.
Then you're set. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a good question. Do you want to image it? Yeah, it depends on... It's kind of a nice feeling once you've done the image. Now you have on a thumb drive, everything you'd need to get back to today. But it doesn't get back to tomorrow. So that's where their backups come in.
Is there a particular program that you would recommend for doing that?
You can actually do it with Windows. The Windows backup has an imaging tool built into it. I don't know if it's still on Windows 11. In Windows 10, it was called the Windows 7 Legacy Backup or something like that. But there was an imaging tool on there. But there are third-party tools. Our sponsor, Acronis, makes a very well-known imaging program, but that's not free. There's a free one available from EaseUS, EASEUS.com, I think. That's free. And there are free open source imaging tools, maybe not quite as easy to use, but they're certainly out there. So there are lots of ways to do it. It's kind of a geeky thing to do. You probably don't need to.
All right. Very good. Thanks so much.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah. I'm trying to think, do I still do that? No, I don't think I do, because this Windows recovery is really, gets you back to the day you got it installed. It is true that you're going to install stuff after that. The apps you like, set up your Wi-Fi password, put your password manager and stuff on there. You might want, a copy of that. But they get out of date as soon as you start using the machine. You add new passwords, you add new files. So a backup really is the best solution overall. Ken, that was Ken. How about Vi from Costa Mesa, California? Hi, Vi.
Hi, Leo. My son wants to know how you are able to connect to your mom's computer if she is having a problem that she can't resolve. What do you use?
Are you the mom that your son is trying to connect to?
Yeah, because sometimes I'm 85, and I do stupid things, and then I don't know how to get out of.
It's a great thing to have. My mom's 88. You're absolutely right. So it depends on the kind of computer you have. There are all sorts of ways. It's called remote access. Windows comes with a remote access.
Yeah,
thing.
I have Windows 10.
Yeah. The one that we recommended and I used for a long time is Remote PC. Boy, this company's they're no longer advertising the show after the beginning of the year, but iDrive and Remote PC still getting the plugs, so that's fine because it's good. It's a good product, Remote PC. There's many other companies that do something similar. Log Me In is another one. Team Viewer is another one.
What do you use?
Remote PC.
Remote PC.
It's very inexpensive, yeah. There is built-in, and it depends on how techie is your son.
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's a pretty good tech guy, but...
So he may have a preference. Windows 10 has something called Quick Assist built. You're using Windows?
Yes.
Has something called Quick Assist built in, which is exactly for this purpose. So you already have it. If he's using Windows 10 or 11, already has it. It's called Quick Assist. It's right there in the Start menu. And so he can do... So, for instance, if you had a problem right now and you haven't had a chance to start or install anything, he can just say to you, oh, Mom, just hits the Start key, type Quick Assist. In fact, do this right now. Type Quick Assist. And you'll see there's two choices. There's Assist Another Person, which is what he would use. And then he would send a 6-digit code to you. You'd run Quick Assist, enter the 6-digit code, and he'd be in. And then he could take control of your computer. That's probably, given you're not going to be using this all the time, and it's built in, probably the best thing to do.
It's built in?
Yeah, it comes with Windows.
Okay. And if he goes into, because I'm not on the Windows right now.
Yeah. Just tell him Leo says Windows Quick Assist.
Okay, Windows Quick Assist. Okay.
And you already have it. That's the advantage of it. There are other features that, sometimes geeks like. But from the point of view of helping you out, because you already have it, it's built specifically for this kind of support. I think that's a great way to go. Yeah, Quick Assist.
Well, okay, thank you so much.
So you can, and if you're on your end, you can click Start, type Help, and then it has a button that says Invite someone to help me fix this computer. And you invite your son. Help me. But got to tell you this, very important. Only do this with somebody you absolutely trust.
Oh, I know. We have so many of these people.
People are always calling up saying, hello, I'm calling from Windows. You've got a problem. Give me access to your computer. You just say, no.
Yeah, I've already had that call
a
couple times.
Good. Yes, your son will thank you for that, because then he's really got a problem to fix.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm kind of aware of it.
Only give somebody you really know and trust access to your computer. Never give it to anybody else.
I agree with you. I'm trying to be very, very careful. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Vi. A pleasure talking to you. I'm glad I could help out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Windows Quick Assist. Yeah, makes sense it's built in. for quick remote PC and other tools like TeamViewer are really designed for work from home and stuff like that. If he's just like, I don't know what I did, I installed something or I need to do something, and your son wants to get in and fix it, that's probably the best way to do it. Quick Assist. I love it. You can hit the Windows key and type help. Help, and that'll do it. Hey, that's what I'm here for. Thank you so much for letting me be your tech guy this week. We will be back next week. Michael, join me on Saturday. I hope you will too. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.